And then it got a little heated and she pushed me. That fucking old lady, that fucking lonely ass woman who stays in the ground floor and bothers everybody who enters the house and leaves the house, pushed me physically. And then I just kind of lost it and I yelled at her. And then we went upstairs to our flat. Cut to 5 minutes later, they ring the doorbell, call us downstairs. They've called like five or six local goons. I mean, not goons exactly, like some 45, 50-year-old men who probably live nearby or something. She's called them, and then they start yelling at us. They start threatening us, and they're like, this lady, pointing at me, of course, they were like, this lady needs to leave in the next 1 hour with both her cats. She needs to leave. She will leave. Now, the tricky part was that my name was not on the rent agreement because I kind of started living in the flat a couple of months after my flatmates had already rented the flat out. And we had asked them, like, since she's also coming to live with us, should we get her name on the rent agreement or something? And the landlord and the landlady were like, no, no, it's fine. She can stay. And that was probably a mistake because when this happened, the other two flatmates whose names were on the rent agreement, they were given like a 20-day notice to move out, right? Because I mean, even they weren't given an entire 1 month notice. They were given like a 20-day notice because that's when the month would end, the month of June. Basically, this happened on the 11th and they were given up until the end of June to vacate. Meanwhile, I was asked to leave immediately with both my cats and all of my stuff. And I had no place to go. And my cat was in the hospital, and the other cat was at home, and it was stressful, so stressful. But I don't want to relive that anymore. So I'm just gonna come straight to the point. It's been almost 1 month since that entire incident happened. And I would like to share very proudly that I now have rented out a 2 BHK for myself and my two cats. Um, and this is the first time that I'm renting something out where I'm not sharing my flat with any flatmates. Not because I don't want flatmates, honestly, it's nice to have flatmates, but just because I don't know, the whole event and me not having enough control over the situation because my name was not on the rent agreement and all of that, it just made me a little guarded. And I was like, I'm already a control freak. So this out of control situation kind of pushed me into a spiral where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a house of my own for my cats. And I did. I rented a 2 BHK for me and my cats. And it's not a great society. It's not very spacious. The rooms are a little small. The hall's a little small. The kitchen's a little small. There's literally there's only one balcony, and that balcony is so small it feels like a window at this point. But it's all mine. Everything is all mine now. And I am the sole renter on the rent agreement. And it's been great because this is the first time in my life when I've done something like this. And I don't know, it makes me feel a different kind of empowered. It makes me feel like I could never imagine doing this because I've always stayed in shared flats, and even in shared flats I've always like found these flats via like Facebook flats and flatmates groups. So the flats that I chose usually already had like two or three people staying, and just one room used to be vacant, like somebody's looking for a replacement or something. And then I used to just come in with my two suitcases of clothes and basic upholstery, and I just started living there. I didn't have to care about getting the setup done, renting items out, or buying the kitchen utensils or crockery and all of that. I've never done that. So that was pretty comfortable and convenient for me back in the day, honestly, and I liked that. But now I have two cats. I can't just live with random strangers from Facebook with two cats because I don't know how they'll treat my cats. I'll be in office all day. My cats are going to be at home at the mercy of the other flatmates, which I'm not really comfortable with. So I decided this was the time that I got my own place. And since it was completely unfurnished, I had to get everything done on my own. And I'm telling you this because my mind was already so stressed out with everything, with the sudden eviction, and I had to just leave the house all of a sudden. And I was like already going down the spiral of stress and anxiety. And on top of that, finding a place for myself, talking to the owner, getting everything sorted, making sure I'm not being scammed, because that's also something that's really common nowadays, where people just pose to be the owner or the broker and they ask you for a token money, and then they stop responding to your calls. It's happened to me once, and it's happened to my friends once or twice. So I had to be a little wary of that. And then once I got the flat, like there was nothing here, literally nothing except like two lights. So I had to rent out an AC, I had to rent out the furniture, and then I was like, oh my God, there's no gas connection in the kitchen. So I guess I'll have to get a gas connection too. And I haven't gotten the gas connection yet, but my ex flatmates, they were kind enough to give me their induction just to manage for a while. And like just for tea, coffee, I can use the induction, and then for food and all, I can just order. Because anyway, I'd been ordering even before this happened. I was just ordering food for lunch and dinner, so that didn't have to change for a while. It's okay, we'll figure out gas later. And then I had to I cannot I bought my first mixer grinder, dude. Like, of course, I've bought it for my home, back in my hometown. My mom asked for a new one. I've bought it. I've bought oven for her, not for her, for the family. She's not the only one using it. But I've bought these stuff for my family. But because I never bought it for my own use and for my own self. Like, this is the first time I'm buying a mixer grinder. I bought a sofa come bed. Initially, I rented out a sofa and that was not to my liking. And then I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I decided, okay, so hear me out. I have a theory behind why I have always avoided buying stuff, and I've always preferred renting stuff, even though renting in the long term is actually more expensive than just buying things. And it's because I've always been under the impression that my life is so unpredictable and so volatile. And like, I was evicted on a 1 hour notice. So, of course, it's unpredictable and volatile. But that's how it's almost always been, right? So, I was always under the impression that since my life is so unpredictable and volatile, the lesser I own, the easier it'll be for me to, move out of a situation or a flat or a relationship or whatever. So, keeping all of that in mind, I always only, you know, uh, owned just clothes and bed sheets and curtains and nothing beyond that. Whenever I moved, I just left behind all the washroom buckets and mugs and everything, because I was like, I'll go over there and buy a new dustbin and buckets and everything, because that's not that expensive, right? So you can just like leave it behind and get new ones. But the more expensive items like this sofa come bed that I got for almost 10,000, that was like, what? I now own a sofa come bed, and now if I have to move, I mean, not if, when, because I do plan to move from here in the next couple of months. But now, when I have to move, I will have to book a porter and like take care of so much, because I have so much stuff now. I basically decided to let go of my old self that was very wary of buying anything for herself and always kept renting stuff out. And this new self that I am today, right now, recently, she now buys stuff. She doesn't rent. I mean, of course, everything else is rented except the sofa come bed and like a couple of other things that I own, but I own them now. They're mine now, and they're my responsibility now. So that was a major shift in my life, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm a little anxious because it does give me anxiety to think that what if something unpredictable happens again and I wouldn't know what to do with all the stuff I've bought. I'll probably just sell it for cheaper because selling it for cheaper sounds easier than having to carry it within the city, and even worse if I have to carry it like out of the city. I'm sorry, but that's not happening. So that's a life update. During this time when I was evicted, I'm very thankful to have. I don't have a lot of friends, of course, but I have like one or two, and they opened up their homes for me and my cats, and they were like, "You can come and stay here till you find your own place." Um, but I was so hell bent on getting a place for myself ASAP that I fucking finalized a flat within 3 or 4 days, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm moving in." So my 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 rent agreement starts from the 15th. I was evicted on the 11th, and my rent agreement starts from the 15th, which means within just like 3 days, I managed to find a place for myself. And now, here's the fun part, okay? Here's the cool part that the silver lining that I tell myself around this whole incident is that I've always wanted to call my mom and dad to the city, and they can come and live with me for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and I could feel like a family again, because I don't know, but I couldn't do that because you know how NCR and even any metro cities, you know how it is to live with flatmates in metro cities. They're doing like all kinds of things, honestly. Smoking, drinking, partying, calling over their boyfriends or girlfriends and whatnot. So there was no way in hell that I'm calling my mother or my father here while all of that shit is happening. So I could never like gather the guts to do that. But now, since I have the flat to myself, so everything's under my control. Nobody's gonna like just suddenly light a joint while my mother's having her tea. So I am finally calling my mom here to come and live with me for a couple of weeks because I've always wanted to do that for her. She's not been able to step out a lot. My father gets to step out. Like he visits NCR very often, even though he doesn't visit my flat because duh. But he does step out, and I think that's fine. Just my mom doesn't really step out a lot. She's spent her entire life holed up in the house, and the only times she stepped out is to go to her parents' house, which is my maternal grandfather, and that's all. And now that I'm touchwood kind of financially independent, I decided to give her a little bit of those events. I don't know if it's events. I just wanted to do something for her. I've wanted to do something for her. And calling her to my flat is the first step. But my goal for this year is to take her on a Goa trip. Just a girls' trip to Goa, just me and my mom. And we're gonna like she's gonna board a plane for the first time in her life. Like that's how much she's never stepped out. She's never even been to a different state, so she's never even boarded a plane. So she's gonna do that for the first time with me, and I will take her to Goa, and she's never seen the beach. She's never seen the ocean. Oh my God. I have to show it to her. I have to. And I'm gonna make her wear all of these cute ass outfits for Goa, and we're gonna have so much fun. That was the plan, and I was planning to do that in July or August before all of this fuck up happened. And well, I had to spend around like um 1.5 lakhs because of this whole incident, finding a new flat, getting everything, buying everything, just all of it. It was a little bit expensive, and so I kind of drained my savings. And now I will have to wait for a couple of weeks or months to save more so that I can plan that trip now. But just because I can't plan a Goa trip immediately does not mean my mom can't come and stay here. So she's gonna come and stay here probably this week whenever my brother decides he's free. He's unemployed, by the way. But whenever my unemployed brother decides he's free to bring mother here, they're gonna come here. So that's been a life update. And because all of this was happening, I haven't been able to talk to myself for almost a month. And I feel so out of touch with everything. I feel like all the healing work that I was doing with Carl Jung and psychology and working on my mental health and getting in touch with my subconscious and whatever I was doing. I honestly, I don't even remember. Like, it feels like such a lifetime ago, because I feel like all the work that I did on myself has suddenly come undone. I'm suddenly spiraling. I'm suddenly more emotional. I'm suddenly not that person anymore, and it's sad. So it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting in my flat, and I decided to speak to myself while I have my morning coffee. So, hi. um, there's this there's this thing that happened, that I want to share. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but before this whole eviction thing happened, just 1 week before that, I don't know from where and how I got I I created this dream for myself that very soon I'm gonna own a very, very large bungalow with a large ass garden in front, which has at least one tree right in the middle that my cats can climb, and the garden for my cats to play, because I didn't want my cats to like step out for a morning walk on the streets, right? That's not safe for them, and I want to give my cats a better life. So I started dreaming of owning a house which has a large garden, and like a large ass villa, of course, for my cats to run around, and so many stairs for them to chase each other, and then they step out in the garden and there's so much grass that they can eat, and then there's so many trees that they can climb, and so many birds that tease them and they try to chase them. I started imagining that, and I didn't just imagine, I actually started visualizing the house that I will purchase for myself. And every time I felt a little anxious or stressed after that, I just closed my eyes and started visualizing my dream house. Like, oh, my dream house is gonna have like a gym at the on the top floor, and then like so many rooms and such a lavish large hall. Like, the entire ground floor would probably just be a hall, because I want a large hall. I love large spaces. So I started visualizing it more and more specifically. Like, I want the color to be this, I want the entrance gates to look like this, and all of that, right? So every time I was stressed, I would just close my eyes and visualize my dream house to ground myself and calm myself down. And within a week of me doing this, I was suddenly evicted. And my theory is that the universe, hear me out. I know people usually don't take you seriously when you say universe, but hear me out. The universe decided that for me to actually manifest my dream house, I will have to get out of my current life and current self and who I am. And my current self does not buy things for herself because she feels her life is too unstable to buy something or to own something. That needs to change, and that changed. And the current self avoided staying alone because she was like, oh, I need flatmates that I can chill around with and stuff. But when I'll get my house, I'll be staying with my family, or most probably, like a lot of times, just alone in my room. So I won't have flatmates then, basically. So the universe was like, okay, so for you to step into this next chapter of your life, which is the house that you dream of, you will first need to let go of your current self and who you are right now as a person. And maybe it's just me trying to make sense of all the events that happened recently. Maybe it's just me being a human being right now. But a part of me tells me that I think this is quantum looping happening. Like, I think I just switched timelines. Um, I chose, I decided to dream of a timeline where I have this house, and the universe was like, okay, so if you wanna own this house, which is, of course, like all the events and all the possibilities are happening at the same time. I recently started reading about this, about how time is not like a past, present, future thing. Everything that has happened is happening at the same time in the same moment. So I don't know. I feel like I can't explain it properly. Maybe you should just Google quantum looping or something. But when I read about it, I felt like maybe the universe just picked me up from one timeline and dropped me into the other timeline where I actually buy that house. So that's how I think that's just my coping mechanism. But even if it is, it's a good coping mechanism. I don't know if I had shared this, but last month I decided to. Oh, so last month, I also decided to go completely sober, like completely, and it was going well. And then this happened, and so I'm like, okay, so maybe for me to like switch timelines, I need to change a couple of things. Like, if I own a house, I'm a fucking large as business owner, so obviously I won't have time to like smoke up or something, right? And so the universe was like, okay, now that you like stopped smoking, um now you're entering the timeline that will help you achieve this vision of the house that you have. I don't know how, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just basically, all of this happened and I didn't feel a lot of stress because life has always been very chaotic and very unpredictable. And so I think like I'm always prepared for something to go wrong. Always. Anytime that I'm, and maybe that's why I never owned any stuff, because I was like, things can go wrong anytime. And so and so when all of this shit was happening, it didn't really stress me out as much because life has always been chaotic. And so this is nothing new. I'm used to it. I've done this before. I have faced much, much harder situations before on my own, and I've emerged victoriously out of them. And this is nothing compared to that. So I can deal with it. And so I think I thrive in chaos or something, because I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a house in the next 2 days. And I did, all right. So I don't know. I'm very proud of myself. I'm extremely proud of how strong and resilient I am, especially during events like these when um a past version of me would have actually broken down and given up and just just wouldn't know what to do. But the present version of me actually took charge and fucking figured it out in like 2 days, dude. It was crazy. It was super crazy. But I did it, and I'm so proud of myself. And I am my dad's daughter. Maybe, you know what? I am my mom's daughter. My mom is the strong and resilient person. in my family, and I am my mom's daughter. I did it. Guys, I did it. I finally have my own flat. I I've like decorated it, like not proper decoration, but I've added like little bits and elements of who I am to this house. There's one or two paintings that I really liked, so I got them for the house. There's a large ass carpet which has a cat on it. I got that for my house. I got a large ass, like a 6XL bean bag for my house, dude. I also own a bean bag now, by the way. So I have so much stuff now. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself that I could let go of that fear of not owning anything, because life is unpredictable. And, I've always been living in the what if, like, what if something happens and I need to move? What am I going to do with all of this stuff that I own? I can't own anything. Instead of staying in that what if state of mind, I think I shifted to an even if state of mind, which is basically like, even if something happens tomorrow, even if I have to move or something, we will figure it out. People do it all the time. People buy stuff and relocate stuff all the time. Even if that happens, it's fine. So basically, I shifted from the what if mindset to the even if mindset. And now that the things are all almost settling down in this flat, and I'm like trying to build up a routine here from the scratch, I think I'm gonna get back to the work I was doing on myself. Lately, the only work I've been doing on myself is just breathing. Anytime I get really anxious or stressed, I just start breathing, and that has been extremely effective. But I also want to do more. I feel like I'm born for more, and this is the transition that will help me get there. And that's an update, right? Oh my God, I don't even recognize myself. But anyway, I have to go to the office. So I'm gonna shut up right now. But hopefully, I'm also gonna get back to talking to myself, because I haven't done that in so long. I feel like there's so much pent up emotions and things inside me that I just need to let out. And I did that today, and it does feel a little bit lighter. So I think I'm going to get back to talking to myself as well. Wish me luck. Okay, bye.